I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you'll be lean and mean, guaranteed. Blue Jean Blues. Folks, listen, and Anna can tell you, I don't measure out these songs ahead of time to figure out if I could get it all in. I just listen to the song and I get it all in. And I was getting lackadaisical on that one. I never run into the post, right, Anna? I mean, I hope that's not indicative of the rest of the show.
Well, considering we're going to be talking about BS products on TikTok Shop, we're going to be talking about the lovely thing that is the grocery stores in these United States. And then I know you got something over there. Plus, we have Oatly, everyone's favorite chemical shitstorm.
All right, so Anna, anything we don't get to, we'll do it. So, folks, we might have 2 shows worth of information. I do want to talk about the grocery store thing later in the show. Yeah. So that's one of the things I want to see, folks. This is called producing on the fly. But the thing,
just like how you ran in that intro.
Yeah, I just rammed right into that intro. You know what? At the end of the show, I'm going to do the opening of the show again.
Okay, great.
See if I can bump it right on.
Okay.
All right.
Now it's personal.
Yeah. Okay, ZZ Top. You think you guys can mess with me? I'll show you. I had an interesting thing happen, Anna. I went out. There's a guy that lives near me. He's got a bit of a presence on the internet. His name is Dave Dolak. And he goes
Kayaker Dave?
Dave the Kayaker.
Dave the Kayaker.
Dave the Kayaker.
I call him Kayaker Dave. That's the relationship we have.
Yeah. Dave the Kayaker he's a buddy. And once in a while, he'll call me and he'll go, hey, man, you want to get your wood wet? That means, bring out my wooden boat. We'll get in the water. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, Dave is younger than me, but not by much. Let's say 55. I'm 62. And Dave is a formidable athlete because in these kayak races, and some like the short race for these kayaks, 20 miles, he's done 50 and 100-mile races in a kayak. And this is not like fast moving kayak. These are big, giant, long kayaks where you're stroking and you're on it that entire time. Right. So Dave is in incredible shape in a kayak. So when I go out with Dave, because I don't kayak that often, even though I row, kayaking is a completely different thing. Your hip twist is where it's at because you're using your hips to work those paddles. There's no oars. It's a paddle, right? So it's all in your hips and upper body. And that part of your body has to be in aerobic shape. Now, stick with me, folks. I'm going to keep this as non-scientific as I possibly can. And Anna, if I run into trouble getting too sciencey, make me crack it back.
Okay.
They see, folks, that's been Anna's job here. You think she's just good looking and she can make food? That ain't true. Yeah, that's part of it. But the real truth is,
I got to crack it back.
Yeah. So Dave called me the other day. Go, hey man, let's go get your wood wet. And you hear what's going on upstairs?
Yeah, what is that?
Dog.
Did the ceiling fall in?
I don't think you understand. I'm trying to do a podcast, and that's what's going on upstairs.
Is it Trixie?
I feel like De Niro. Ma, I'm doing the show down here. Ma. What show was that? King of Comedy? Was that King of
Comedy?
Yeah, thank you. I'll pull that one out of my ass. Let's see what else I can pull.
Yeah, that was good.
Today. So Dave goes, hey, let's go get your wood wet. And I was like, you know what, Dave? I was already going to mountain bike on Saturday. Let's go for a little mountain biking. Let's do a little cross training for you there, buddy. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. We went to a pretty mild, pretty flat area. There's some hills and dales and whatever, but nice, beautiful place out in the countryside where people go to mountain bike. And we take off. And as I do with people, for anyone that doesn't know this, I was a professional cyclist at one time. I had a pro mountain bike contract, and I did 24-hour mountain bike races long before I did the ones on the road. And so whenever I'm riding with anyone that's not of that ilk, even though I'm 62, I'll say, hey, you get in front, I'll get behind you. I'll go whatever speed. The idea is I'm going to go whatever speed you go. And we're clipping along at a very slow pace. And all of a sudden, Dave pulls over after, we're not going for 10 minutes. He pulls over, he's bent over the handlebars. Oh. I'm like, hey, buddy, you okay? Yeah, man, just go without me. Just go ahead.
Oh, no.
He's blowing hard. And I'm not being braggadocious, I don't think my heart rate was at 100. I wasn't breathing at all. So then I said, hey, just relax. Let's slow it down a bit. Let's take it easy. And let's take off again. And we waited a few minutes. We took off, and same thing, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. He's hurting again. Now, here's why I'm not being braggadocious, because as I mentioned, Dave, he does these 100-mile kayak races. Whenever I go kayaking with Dave, even when I take my fast boat, like the really lightweight fast boat, I cannot keep up with him. Right? And you go, wait a minute, Vinnie, you're an aerobic giant. Yes, I am. But I can't keep up with Dave in a boat. He knows he has to slow down for me when we're in the kayaks. Even though I don't do much mountain biking, Dave couldn't keep up on the mountain bike. Now, if you saw Dave, it's not like he's got two skinny legs with this great upper body. Dave goes to the gym. Dave does legs twice a week. I gave Dave his leg routine. If you saw his legs, you'll go, wait a minute. Those tree trunks in his legs are, really muscular and strong. That guy is having trouble mountain biking? Yes. And here's why. It all has to do, and this is what I'm always trying to explain to everyone. It all has to do with mitochondrial health, right? We build and lose mitochondria the same way we do with building and losing muscle or building and losing anything, right? His mitochondria is in his hips, it's in his upper body, where he's very aerobically fit because he can sit in that boat and twist his hips all day long and just kick my ass up and down the river.
Right.
Because it's not something I do, right? Even though my heart rate sits at around 42 beats per minute regularly. I take him out for a mountain bike ride, and even though he's got legs like sequoias, and if you saw him, you'll go, oh my God, let me be as fit as this guy. This guy's got a very good build on him. He's lean, he's mean, he's muscular.
Yeah.
If you ever need a date, if things go wrong with Lauren, sounds like you're kind of
Dave's my future husband.
Dave's a married man, but let's say something happened. I'll fix you guys up. No problem. Okay.
Great.
Good looking man. His mitochondrial health on his legs are zilch. Now, what can I do to get better in the boat? And what can Dave do differently to get better on the bike? Right? It's just like when people come to me and say, hey, man, I want to go from the couch to running a 5K, and I want to go from running a 5K to a 10K. You can't get there overnight.
Right.
The best thing Dave can do is to get on a spinner at home because, he's a working man. Stay in zone 2 for him that, he's 55, so that's about 125 to 130 heartbeats per minute. And let his body slowly build up that mitochondria in zone 2, less than 80% of your aerobic max, right? And then after, 12, 15 weeks of that, once a week, if he wanted to do a high intensity day where you warm up and stay in zone 2 for 30 minutes and then start doing some bumps, right? It can be 30 seconds, a minute and a half, whatever you want. So you could do like 4 bumps. Let's say you start at a minute. So a minute really hard, get your heart rate up, bring it down for a minute, go up, do that 4 times with a minute in between. Doing that once a week and then all the zone 2 in the world, you will get to where I am in no time. Conversely, if I got on a rowboat, or I actually have a rowing simulator, it's actually in my shed here. I would have to pull it out and set it up, but I have the rowing machine set up right now. I can do the same thing as Dave is doing. I would have to stay in zone 2 on the paddle erg, not the rower, the paddle erg, in order to build up my mitochondria and the muscles I need to be aerobically fit to be able to do what Dave does. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We're two very fit people. Yet I can't do his sport and he can't do my sport. But because we already have strong hearts and we already have strong lungs, we're like 80% there. You just have to build the mitochondria into the muscles you're working, right?
Right.
That's why I'm training right now to do Mount Whitney. And I don't have a lot of time because I'm running the vitamin company, the coffee company, and the foods company. I'm running those companies now. I'm on phone calls all day.
Yep.
When I'm not doing that, I'm doing
Worst.
consults. I'm doing all the consults. And people know when I'm doing the consults, I'm walking around the neighborhood. I'm on my feet. I can't do that when I'm running the business. I have to be somewhere near a desk. But when I'm on the phone, if I don't have to be in front of my computer, I get on my bike. Or I get on my Echo bike, the one with the hands moving. Or I get on the rowing machine and stay in zone 2. That's what I do to get ready for Whitney, right? There are ways to get things done, right? Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And you can't expect, as I tell people, if you came to me and said you want to run a marathon, I'm not going to have you doing heavyweight squats and deadlift. I'm going to have you out running to get you ready for a marathon. If you came to me and said you wanted to win a weightlifting, powerlifting competition, I'm not going to have you running 26.2 miles.
Right.
You have to do the activity you want to do in order to get better. I know that sounds silly and stupid and everything else. The one thing I want to add to this is a lot of times people go, oh, is that all I have to do? They overwork. They're overworked by a lot. The most important part of working out and exercising is to give yourself the proper amount of rest in between. We actually build up muscle, mitochondria health, everything else when we're resting, when we're sleeping. So be good to your body. Do not kill yourself. I see a lot of times with these ultra runners, they're getting more and more ridiculous. It used to be,
I bet.
it used to be, 50K, which is 60 something miles, or 100 miles. And that was like the longest races. Now there's like the Cocodona 250 and the blah, blah, blah 350. And I said this 20 years ago. People go, you think we're going to ever progress past 100-mile races? I went, oh, yeah, we're getting there. We'll be at 200. And they were like, no way, no way. And I was like, oh, we'll be at 200 and then we'll be at 300. And they all told me I was crazy. But it turns out I wasn't so crazy because now we have those races. And where we don't have races, we have guys doing FKTs and women doing FKTs.
What are FKTs?
Fastest known time. So they'll pick a spot between A and B. It could be a mountain. There's people like Kilian Jornet and some of these guys started doing them. And they would go, hundreds of miles, FKTs through the mountains, right? And you would have the fastest known time. Meaning, I'm sure some Indian ran it way back in the day much faster than you with, no power gel or anything else. But that's okay. This we're going to go with your record because it's the FKT, fastest known time. That's the soapbox I'm going to have there. So, folks, you could be really good at one thing and not great at the other thing. Go on, Anna.
Can you just give a quick reminder on how to calculate that zone 2? And I will say, even after all these years, I always forget which direction, because you're always like, if you're fit, it could be lower, but is it higher? I always forget which direction it goes in.
Good. So, all right, the best way to do it is there usually, if you live in a big enough town, 30, 40,000 people or more, there's going to be some group of people that can figure out exactly what your top heart rate is, right? So whatever your top heart rate is, then you could just take a percentage of that, right? That's an easy calculation. Do it with your cell phone, with the calculator on your cell phone, right? So if your top heart rate is, 200 and you want to do 50% of that, you would go, that would be 100, right? And so on and so forth. So first I'll explain where the zones are. So zone 1 is between wherever resting heart rate is and up to 69% of your aerobic capacity, right? So examples of being in zone 1 is a nice crisp walk, or, the like, yard work, pushing a lawnmower, maybe gardening, this kind of thing. Just doing casual work will get you somewhere in your zone 1 range, right off of, being on the couch. Your zone 2 is between 70 and 79% of your aerobic capacity. And I'll explain why we like zone 2 in just a minute. Zone 3 is between 80 and 89% of aerobic capacity. Zone 4 is between 90 and 100% of your aerobic capacity. And if you're a really well-trained athlete, you could go past zone 4 for just a few seconds. It's called zone 5. Do not worry about that. But no one can stay there for more than a couple of seconds, right?
Right.
I used to be able to do it when I was training really hard aerobically. I can't do it anymore. I would have to train my ass off to even get back there and probably bust a nut doing it. Okay. First, why is zone 2 so important? Well, it's no more important than any of the other zones, but it's the zone where your body is still burning just fat as energy, right? Your body does not have to hit your sugar stores in zone 2. If you're below 80%, your body can just keep running on fat. You're moving at such a pace that your body can do that. Not only are you doing that, but you're stretching your lungs, you're stretching your heart, you're causing more mitochondria to occur in your heart's a muscle, your lungs, all of it. You're building up that aerobic mitochondria. You're building up the scrubbing bubbles of energy in the muscles you're working. What's wrong with zone 3? Absolutely nothing. But when you're in zone 3, you're now still burning a high rate of fat, but your body can't quite keep up anymore. So you start burning some sugar. Think of yourself as being kind of like a Prius. You know what a Prius does? Like, you have an electric car, right? What do you have, the Tesla?
I do have a Tesla.
Okay. Your Tesla just burns electricity, right? It runs on electricity.
Yeah, it runs on that battery.
Not a Prius. A Prius has
it has a hybrid.
Yeah, it's got a combustion engine and it has a battery. Right. So it runs on both. And when you're driving a Prius, you can't tell when it goes from one to the other, right? It goes back and forth. Your body becomes a Prius when you are in zone 3. It's running on some fat and some electricity. In zone 4, you become a Tesla. Or you become a combustion engine, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay? What happens is your body's only running on sugar because you can't, it cuts off burning fat. It's burning a little fat in zone 4, to be perfectly honest, especially if you're at 90, 92%, you're still burning some fat. Your body doesn't just cut it off. Mm-hmm. Your body starts to save its fat and it'll burn its sugar as quickly as possible to keep you going. That's what zone 4 is. That's why we train in zone 2, because you're not burning up any of your blood glycogen. You're burning only fat. It's great for weight loss. It's great for aerobic training. It's great for everything. Now, remember I mentioned after doing 12 to 15 weeks of that, you could do 1 day of HIIT. When you're doing that 1 day of HIIT, where you're doing like a minute on, a minute off, some people do 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 3 minutes. Some people do what's called the quad, 4 minutes on, 4 minutes off. You have to be in really good shape for that.
That sounds very intense.
When you're doing that, you are burning through sugar really fast, right? And you might notice when you're showering up after you work out, you feel this calmness. You feel like you take the best nappy poo you ever had. Right? Now, you could go to a lab, as I said earlier, and figure out how to get in zone. You find out what your top number is, and then you can work backwards from there and do the math. Or if you want to save all that money, because that could cost you a couple of $100, you can use this formula. Take the number 180. So Anna, we're going to do you.
Okay. Oh, this has been fun over the years. Remember when I was in my 30s when we first did this?
Isn't it amazing you were in your 30s, now you're in your 50s and we're still doing the show?
It's crazy.
I was in my 40s and now I'm in my 60s.
Yeah.
No, wait, was I 50? I was 50?
No.
49. It was like 48, 49.
Yeah.
62. Okay.
You came to my 40th birthday party, and I would have made you come to my 50th, but you were too far away.
I know. We need to hang out. We haven't seen each other in,
I know.
we saw each other in DC, and that was about it. And we talked about doing
bad steaks.
Yeah, worst steaks ever.
That was sad.
Folks, never go to it. Where did we go to?
STK?
STK?
Yeah.
All right. So, Anna, take the number 180. You got it?
Yep.
Okay. How old are you, Anna?
52. I almost said 53 because I've been saying 52 for so long and I just had a birthday. That's how I mistake how old I am sometimes. But I am 52. I was born in 1973.
Okay, 52.
So 180 minus 52.
Yeah, and what do you come up with?
Is 128. What?
128. Okay. Now, you're not a couch potato. We know that because we know you go for walks and we know you got your spinner. We know you do things. You go hiking, what have you. So we're going to add 5 clicks to that.
Yeah.
So what do you get?
133.
Okay. Now, remember we said that. Now, by the way, folks, this is a guesstimation. We used a little empirical data. We came up with the number 180. We just pulled it right out of our ass, right? So we know that Anna's in pretty good shape, so we added 5 clicks to it. If you're a couch potato, sometimes I tell people to take 5 clicks away from that.
Right.
All right, so
that's where I get confused.
Right.
Because I would think if you were in better shape, you'd have a lower.
No, if you're in better shape, you could go higher. And all right, so you add 5 clicks. So you
go higher, but still be in zone 2.
Your heart rate, we're going to say, is 133 per minute, 133 beats per minute.
Yeah.
Now, can you go over that? Yes. Can you go under that? Yes. Here's why. We're going to remember we said it's between 70 and 79%. So let's say 70 to 80%. We're going to use a little more empirical data. We're going to just insert. We're going to say that 133 puts you right at 75%.
Okay. So
you have a little room above that and a little room below that. So if you went to 138, 137, 138, if you can still talk in full sentences, you're still fine. That's what I tell people. Don't just use this. Other people say, man, I get to that 133 and I can't even breathe. Okay, you need to crack it back because in zone 2, you should still be able to speak in full sentences. In zone 3, that's when you're saying a sentence, then you're catching a breath, saying a sentence, right? That's why I can be in zone 2 on my spinner or any of it, rowing machine. Okay. Nobody's any of the wiser. I can just talk at normal rate in zone 2, right?
Yep.
That's what I want people doing. Does that make sense, Anna?
Yep.
Okay. So your number might be a lot higher than that if you actually got it tested, or it might be a lot lower. Now, here's the thing. And I know to a lot of you, this is going to sound like dumb questions. I'm going to ask the questions that I get asked all the time. These are not dumb questions. These are the questions people will ask. Do I start the timer when I get into zone 2? No.
That's interesting.
When you start moving, right?
Great.
So look, I'll be honest with you. I take 10 to 12 minutes to get into zone 2 on my spinner. Rowing machine, same thing.
So you don't go really hard at the beginning to get you there?
I go real easy. I break in real slow, move slowly. Now, I know a lot of times on rowing machines, people want to hit these metrics and numbers. I tell those people, do 10 minutes of warming up, stop the machine, start it over, and then go do your workout. If you want to see metrics. Okay. I don't care about that, right? I just care about being in zone 2 for X amount of time. So you count the whole workout, the warm up and the cool down, all of it counts. So let's say you were going to stay on your spinner for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You spend 10, 12, 15 minutes ebbing up to zone 2. When you get to zone 2, either crank the resistance up or down to stay there, move your cadence, meaning the speed of the pedal, pedal speed up or down to stay there. But that's where you want to stay, somewhere in that zone 2. Don't rush to get there. Warm up. Trust me on that. Okay? Trust me on that. On any of the machinery you get on, if it's the stair machine, whatever, give yourself a good long warm up.
So even if it takes you 10, 12 minutes to get into zone 2, you can start doing your workout. And if you just do 30 to 40 minutes, you've done it.
If that's what you're
Or do
doing.
you need to go longer? Do you need to go a full hour?
No. And that's the other thing. People go, does it count if I do? It all counts. I'll tell you this. If you're doing less than 20 minutes, look,
Yeah.
there are people out there, I deal with people, 500, 600, 700 pound people. I'm not kidding. If they're doing 3 minutes, like some people, they stand up and they hold on to a wall or a walker or a table for 3 minutes. That's their workout. I'm not talking to you, right? You keep doing whatever you can to start moving.
Right, to move your body.
Right? I'm talking, this is a whole different subset I'm talking to. The people who want to go run of this or do of that or do the muddy buddy run or the whatever they do. What's that thing Leona used to do?
The Spartan?
Spartan. Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. People like doing these things. I'm talking to those people right now. Whatever you can do. Sometimes 10 or 15 minutes might be all you can do. Start with that. But try to get to at least a minimum of 20. Okay?
I always say do at least 30, right? Like if you're doing if you're in for 20, you're in for 30, unless you have like a call to jump on or something.
Anna, I'm telling you, I've worked with people. Look, I'm telling you about my buddy Dave, who's in great shape. He couldn't go 15 minutes on a mountain bike, almost threw up. Right? He was in.
That would probably be me.
If you saw Dave, you'll go, that's the body I want. He's great in the boat. I'm terrible in the boat.
Right.
I'm great on the bike. He's terrible on the bike. And by the way, I'm great in a kayak, and not in a kayak, in a rowboat. Completely different muscles. Right? It's whatever you use, they say use it or lose it. That's what it comes down to.
What is the best way to track it? You use the polar heart rate thing.
Yeah, I like having things around my chest to do it. Like I'll give you an example.
That's probably the most accurate, right? Because that's literally
the watch I have on is this is made by Garmin. As you know, Garmin is not cheap stuff.
Right.
This has the wrist thing on it. Right.
Is that on an Apple Watch too? Because I feel like I see
those things. I don't know about the Serena.
I see people asking you about Garmin's versus Apple Watches all the time.
I know. I could tell you this: the Garmin one on my wrist. I know this watch costs a lot of money. I can't tell you what it cost. It's shit as far as a heart rate monitor, because I'll have a strap on when I'm on the bike on the rowing machine, and both of those have their own thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I can tell you without fail, this watch is always wrong. Always. Not even close.
So the chest thing is the best. That's kind of like, honestly, I got one of those cuff wrist blood pressure monitor things.
Yeah.
And they can be wildly different one after the other.
Yeah, look, I mean, I just tell people the truth. I don't have a horse in a race here. So the Garmin, great watch as far as doing everything else.
Right.
Right. It tells me altimeter. It tells me, air pressure, everything. I know everything. I love this thing in the mountain. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I would bet that's good for the mountain.
It's got solar. It picks up. So it when you're in the sun,
it recharges in the sun.
Yeah, this thing is amazing.
That's great.
Monitor, No. I'm going to show you my favorite thing on this watch.
Oh, it has
Look
a
at
little
that.
flashlight.
Flashlight, baby.
That's
Yeah.
great. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier than trying to find it on the phone.
I tell you this, when I'm out in the mountains, you're in the tent at night. It's dark. People don't realize it's dark in those tents, right? You need to look for something in the tent. Ba-boom. Ba-boom. It's like
You got the
boom.
flashlight.
And this thing puts out about as much as as what the cell phone does.
I know you invested in that beacon thing that tracks you,
Yeah, that's a Garmin product too.
but I was going to ask you, is that how Serena can track you when you're on the mountain, or do you have like an arrangement where you check in every day?
No, she can find me as long as I have it on. So as soon as I take off on a hike, especially if I'm by myself, I have mine on. Coddington has his on. Wait, hang on.
It's the billionaire Don Connington's Friday 5 o'clock blast off.
So she knows if we've separated on the mountains, like if somebody turned around, because, on mountains that we know, like Whitney, if one guy wants to go and the other guy wants to turn around, we'll split off. She'll be able to look at mine and his and see where we are or if we're together.
But you guys agreed you're not going to split off this time.
We might.
Oh,
But I think this time we're both hurt. I got some injuries and he's got some injuries. So the whole idea is we're just going up to have some fun and hike around. And if we summit, we summit. So, we don't have any big time goals. Just go summit. We both summited that mountain a gazillion times. There's no big deal. It's more about us getting away from electronics, getting away from the world and enjoying ourselves.
And no nephews are attending this one?
Oh God, no. No, we stopped.
They got uninvited years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to teach the younger generation how to have fun. Turns out they don't want to learn. So
they didn't cotton to it.
And they're good guys. I love my nephew. Steele and Hayden were the two that I took. And then after that, I didn't try with any other nephews. I tried with my niece a long time ago to take her skiing, snow skiing, because it's like I didn't learn until I was an adult. And I was like, let me just take my niece. And I was like, that was a complete disaster. Because her mom's a nut job and, it's just the way it goes. Yeah. You can't fix crazy, Anna. I've tried.
Yeah, no, you can't.
You cannot fix crazy. So purevitaminclub.com, Anna.
Yeah.
The best vitamins on the planet.
What's doing over there at Pure Vitamin Club?
Everything.
I love the vitamin C. I love the vitamin D. I love the magnesium. I love the multi. Are you bringing back the fish oil?
Not right now because I cannot get the right krill that I want.
I'll leave you alone, but you'll tell me when you do. So I can get it, right?
We just brought up a negative, and I'm glad we did.
That's not a negative. That's a positive.
People go, why did you start with your omega fish oil? And it's like, because I cannot get the best ingredients in the world to put in at a fair price. And until I could get it at a fair price to keep it giving it to you guys at a fair price, I'm just not going to sell it.
Yours was really well priced.
I don't have any for me. I don't. Yeah. I've been using other brands. I've been using Carlson's.
I take your zinc too. I don't think that's a negative at all. I think that shows that you have a commitment to quality and good pricing. And I think that your stuff is so great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect anything less. I will say, and this is the honest to God's truth, if you looked at lifetime spending, I might be your number one customer.
We'll see. We'll see. I'll look. I will look.
You can see customer totals. I enjoy buying Pure Vitamin Club products and taking them every day.
I got a call from my dad yesterday. He goes, "Hey, I'm out," which means he doesn't. He just calls.
Entitled. I get it. I get it.
I'm his son, so I'm his son. But his doctor, his doctor says, "Hey, Si, why aren't you taking your son's magnesium?" He goes, "I ran out." And it's like, your magnesium dropped again. My dad called me up. "Hey, my magnesium dropped. Why didn't you call me a month ago?" "I forgot. I was home, Dad. You could have said something." "I forgot."
Get it together.
Yeah. Folks, don't forget. Don't be like,
I'm addicted to it because I feel like it A, helps with my sleep, and B, helps with the constitution in the morning.
It helps everything.
Yeah.
Go to purevitaminclub.com. We keep the vitamins at such a price. And by the way, there are discounts. Like if you buy multiple this, multiple that, as Anna knows, you'll save 10% here,
Yeah.
10% there.
Buy 3,
check out-
subscribe to 3 or more and save.
Yeah, you'll save.
That's what I
Because
do.
they're already at such a low price that I can't go any lower because
Yeah.
we cut it that close to the quick. So purevitaminclub.com. Anna,
Can I talk? You're speaking of ingredients, and I want to tell a
Mhm.
quick little story about the pumpkin marinara. We had an appointment on the 20th to make the pumpkin marinara with my guy, and I drove 7 hours to get there, and got up spent the night, got up at 5:30 in the morning, and went to the factory and got ready to do the pumpkin marinara. I don't know if are you still hearing all that? I stopped talking because I need you to hear the relevant details of what I'm
yeah.
saying.
How long do we have dead air?
Oh, no, just a good 10, 15 seconds.
Okay. All right, folks.
Just
We're
the
back.
length of a 15-second ad,
Yeah,
podcast
I was
ad.
professional. I forgot to bring my water with me to the show, and I was getting dry mouth.
But yes, totally. So
Oh,
anyway, I
really
drive
good
7 hours to go make the pumpkin marinara. We only make this once a year. Now, this year we're going to be in pavilions with the pumpkin marinara, which is in SoCal. We're going to be in all HEBs for the pumpkin marinara. And for us, this is like a really good test because we really want to be on HEB's regular pasta sauce set. Very good account. Yes, they're also the owners of Central Market, but Central Market and HEB have a little gang war, but HEB is, let's be honest, the bigger account. We want to make sure that we do a good job with that pumpkin marinara. So that's going to be there. I don't know who else is going to commit to it yet. We think maybe Gelson's, but we're not sure. We haven't gotten the finalization. So I drive the 7 hours, spend the night. I show up to the facility at 5:30 in the morning. They had already run one run of puttanesca. They had 8 runs to do that day. So they start at like 4 in the morning. I got there at 5:30 and it's time to do pumpkin. And long story short, we mixed it all, and I brought the jar from last year because I'm matching the flavor. I had 1 jar left, and Matt and Todd have 2 jars left with them. And that is it. There's no more pumpkin marinara to be had across these United States except for in the Jewel Oscos that we're in. They're the ones that have it year round. And so we go to taste it. So we pour out and heat up the old one. And then they had brought in, it's basically like how you make it in your kitchen, but just with bigger pots, right?
Right.
They have big kettles and big paddles, and the same idea. You heat up the garlic and you heat up the thing and you bring it to temp and everything's made, and we taste everything that we make. And something smelled weird. It didn't taste right. And we determined that the pumpkin puree had turned, even though it was, even though it was before its expiration date, well before it. We got a bad batch of pumpkin marinara, which is exactly why I drive to a place to taste it, especially when we're doing this with a new tomato. We want to make sure we dial the flavor in. It had been a year since we made it. And long story short, they had to throw out 800 gallons.
Ooh.
Yeah. Of pumpkin marinara. And by the way, we were doing 2 runs that day. So we were supposed to make 1,600 gallons, which was going to be about 1,200 cases of 6 jars each.
Wow.
Now, but here's the thing. What would have happened if I wasn't there? I would hope that my guy...
That would have gone out.
It would have gone out.
It would have gone out.
It would have gone out. So right now, I'm just like, well, I hope HEB is not ordering this pumpkin anytime soon, because right now we got a few more pumpkin samples from different vendors and didn't like it. And so now I'm like, oh gosh, what's happening? So we may or may not have pumpkin marinara. I'm sure by the fall we'll have some, but will it be in the grocery stores? I don't know. It'll be available direct to consumer. Maybe we'll only do one run and have 600 cases. And I'm trying to make 1,200 cases of it. But the idea being, like, this stuff, if you can get it, great. And if you can't get it, you got to make adjustments. So I'm just telling that story just because you talked about how you couldn't get the right krill. And we'll see what happens. So
Go on.
The grocery stores are an interesting thing, and you and I were talking off the air about it
Mhm.
because the Kroger launch is now official. And when I say Kroger, we got into 6 Kroger-owned banners, is what they call them. Fred Meyer's, Smith's, King Soopers, Fry's, Ralph's, QFC. I think that's it. I think I said 6.
Yeah.
And amazing accounts, wonderful to be there. The thing that's super cool about Kroger is that they don't charge slotting fees or
Are you
free
serious?
fills.
Because the smaller stores, Kroger has how many stores?
Kroger's the largest retailer in the United States.
Yeah, they own so many different.
Albertsons is second. Walmart is huge, obviously.
Yeah,
Almost Albertsons charges an insane amount of free fills and slotting fees, like insane, like it makes your head spin. But Kroger did not, and so we were able to. Well, we luckily raised some money, and we have a line of credit, and we paid for all of the product to be made, so that then when the POs came in, we filled all those, and we're able to build the distributor, make that money back. Now we got to make more right now. So that's what this whole thing is going, is that balancing act of cash flow.
right.
And so we have the backfill orders now finally going out from when I was up there. And by the way, I drove. I drove and came home empty-handed. I was supposed to have cases of pumpkin marinara to have, and I came home empty-handed, but I'm so glad I was there.
Does that drive you nuts to have to do that?
No, because I want it to be perfect. And it didn't drive me nuts that it didn't work, because I think to myself, it would have been way worse if it had gone out into the world and we had 1,200 cases of bad product. It wouldn't be bad, like it wouldn't make anybody sick. It would be clean, but it didn't taste good. And then it's like somebody would have tried it and then been like, that thing sucks. That was inedible. And I've tried my competitors, and sometimes I'm like, those are inedible. And I always wonder, I'm like, there's no way that this is the right product. I guarantee you somebody screwed up at the manufacturer and this is a bad batch. But
Yeah.
what they count on is the end user being like, oh, all right, whatever. Like, I might not try it again, but you have millions of other people who will.
Right. No, you only get one time to make a good impression.
Exactly. So the Kroger thing, that's a pretty cool thing about Kroger. But they are also, and they said this, and I put this in an email today, Kroger says it's really hard to get on shelf there.
Mm-hmm.
It's even harder to stay on shelf. They have really high requirements with their sales numbers. And so, I'm hustling, I'm doing all the things. And the reality of it is I have to start doing an education thing about puttanesca sauce. If you're not Italian, you don't know what puttanesca sauce is.
It's amazing to me that
right?
people don't know what it is.
Something that we grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it won pasta sauce of the year last year. So I'm like, oh yeah, great. We're doing great. And I remember seeing, I need to actually find it and use it for social media content. There's a big chef who said next year is the year of, talking about 2025. 2025 is the year of the puttanesca sauce. Everyone's going to be eating puttanesca sauce. And I'm like, I hope so, because we're the only ones doing it. So if you're the only ones doing it, you're either crazy because no one's buying it. So if the big guys don't want to do it, they don't want to touch it because it's very expensive to make.
Right.
The big guys don't want to touch it because Americans don't know about it.
Right.
But I'm just like, screw that. I'm going to take it upon myself to educate people and do it right. But it is on the chopping block at Pavilions and at Central Market because people don't know what it is. So I just want to say this. I'm doing a Venmo thing because when you pay me for Villa Capelli,
yeah,
Serena Venmos me. I don't take that money. I leave it sitting in my Venmo.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that to work through. And basically what I'm saying is until that money goes away or until the end of June, I'm giving $1 per jar for the marinara and pink crema and $3 per jar for puttanesca and spicy. Bought in store. Send me your receipt. Send me your Venmo handle. As soon as I see that email, I will turn it right around and Venmo you. I do not waste time. I appreciate people supporting so much. And if you need a little rebate incentive, great. That's Steven sends you money and then you send me money and then I give it back to the people. That's what's happening.
Folks, look, what Anna's doing is a Sisyphean effort to get this thing going. work with her. Go out, go to Kroger's, go to, where's the other place? What's the other Kroger?
Central Market, Fresh
Central Market,
Time,
Fresh Time.
Pavilions, Gelson's, Food Town on the East Coast. And then there's about 250 indies that we're in. If you go to eathappykitchen.com and put your address in,
It'll tell you
chances
where to
are
go.
there's a location near you. And if there's not, thank you for still supporting direct to consumer. That's huge too. But here's the thing. We have a limited amount of time to show some sales. So obviously we're doing ads, we're doing influencer campaigns, we're doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But it is, we all want there to be a change in the grocery store. We all want there to be clean products available. And now I'm seeing firsthand why there aren't, because companies like mine get pushed out. They get chewed up. They get spit out. I just had a fellow food founder call me about the distributor is just trying to, the distributor won't open for the natural food section that their product should go in. And this lady calls me and she's crying because the distributor just wants them to do their big national show. They want them to do all their new at the distributor programs, and all these things cost tens of thousands of dollars. I was
nobody's willing to help you. That's the deal.
Nobody is. And it's like, but I want to be part of the solution. Now, have our audience, yes, stepped up in a huge way with being investors. Yes, it's all great. We're doing an amazing job with what we have, but I'm just giving a little bit of that glimpse behind the curtain because it's not I told somebody the other day, oh, when you see something, when you see the tags, when something's on sale at the store, that's not the store putting that on sale. That's the brand paying for it.
Right.
And you can tell they were like, wait, what? I was like,
oh yeah. No, people have no idea.
Nobody knows how it works. Cause how would you know? It's not something that's talked about.
Right. No, it's we're the only ones that talk about it because we're in the middle of it. Folks,
yeah.
Like I said, it's a Sisyphean effort on Anna's part. Go and help her out. Most people don't know puta is the horse pasta.
I call it my hooker sauce.
Yeah, it's hooker sauce.
Who doesn't want hooker sauce?
It was what the hookers would do in order to, get back out there and do some good hooking. They had to eat, and they made the sauce, and it became known as puttanesca. And I remember back in the day, Anna, back in Aspen, when I used to go there with the famous people in the 80s, 90s, there was a place there called Mezzaluna's. You might remember, right before someone mysteriously killed O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, she ate at Mezzaluna's. Yeah, they never caught the individual.
They never caught him.
Yeah, O.J. looked for the individual until the day he died. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she ate at the other. There's two Mezzalunas. There was one that I used to go to in Aspen, and there's the one in Brentwood that I lived right next door to. Oh my gosh. And they had one of the best puttanescas ever. And I would get them to bring me the puttanesca with meatballs, and they would go, "But it comes with pasta." And it's like, "But don't bring it.
You just want the meatballs and that puttanesca."
I'm a wop. I'm not that strong. Just bring me." And they'll go, and I'll tell them, "Bring me an extra meatball on that plate. Bring me 3 meatballs with the puttanesca on top." Boom. I would carry some cheese and rock and roll. Folks, you want to eat something really good, go check out Anna Vocino and everything she's doing. Speaking of Villa Capelli, they will not pay us unless we say something about them in this show.
Can I tell you what I made the other day? I filmed it. You're going to say this is crazy, but I filmed it because it's a viral trend. But I was like, oh, that's a viral trend that we can eat, right?
Really?
There's a lot of viral trends. It's all kinds of craziness. But this one was an NSNG viral trend. So people use the pre-grated parm. I don't do the pre-grated parm, you guys. I grate it until my arm hurts. Mm-hmm. You can use a food processor, but on the grated parm that you buy pre-grated, it's got anti-caking agents and cellulose.
You don't want that. You go get the big chunk of parm and you do it yourself.
Big chunk of parm and you put some elbow grease into it. Mm-hmm. Get a big pan. You put the parchment paper down. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees. You're going to grate so much parm it'll make you cry. Right? Then you're going to take an onion and you just do it. I do it on the mandolin, super thin. And you just lay it down on the parm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I take the barbecue dust or the ranch, doesn't matter. You don't really need salt. Here's the thing, because parm is very salty, but I just like to add a little extra flavor to it. Right. And then drizzle the Villa Capelli. And this is a very important step, because this is going to help with the coloring and the adhesive, like holding everything together. Because Parmesan is also a very dry cheese, right? So you want to drizzle that Villa Capelli olive oil over that. And then you finish by covering it again in more parm. You put that in the oven, let it to maybe like 15 minutes at 400, take it out, let it cool. And then you just cut it into, and they're basically crackers.
Oh.
It's like a baked frico. Frico is like a thing from northern Italy where you do the onion. You do onions, peppers, and parm. They do potatoes. We obviously don't do potatoes, but you don't need it. This is like a baked frico, and you can dip it in the sauce. You can dip it in some whatever you want to dip it in. We sat there after I turned the camera off, and we just ate it like this. And it's the Villa Capelli that brings it all together.
I love the frico. Folks, listen, Villa Capelli, it's in stock right now. Go get the 3-liter tin. Get the 3-liter tin. Don't get the 750 milliliter thing unless you want to have a small bottle for your counter and you keep refilling it from the 3-liter. Get that 3-liter tin.
Stock. It's still in stock.
If you spend more than $125 after the Vinnie discount of 10%, you also get free shipping. So Villa Capelli, let them know we sent you. Promo code Vinnie, VINNIE. And go check out Anna for that frico recipe so that you'll know what to do with your Villa Capelli once it's
I got to post that on the internet. It's super easy. It's also, you could probably just Google it, the viral onion chip trend or whatever. But I will say, you and I, we have to talk about my TikTok shop feed next time, because I know we're at time right now. You guys, there is some major BS. And I know you just did the thing with the hydrogenated tabs. And this is going to make you even more furious. All the stuff on TikTok shop that they're targeting me for.
Remind me, you got that for next time. I've already written out this many notes. I don't want people to see it.
Shake it so they can't read it.
Yeah. So I've written down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes here, Anna. Plus, we're going to have all of your stuff. That's going to make everybody nuts. Now, folks, not folks, this is mostly for Debbie. Debbie, after I end the show, I'm going to do the opening of the show at the end. Don't put it at the beginning of the show. Leave this show exactly.
We just want it to be really weird, Debbie.
I just want to see if I can hit the post this time.
Okay, you can do it. I believe in you.
Blue Jean Blues. So I'm going to say on behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.